What just emerged behind the scenes in the NFL could be one of the most impactful events in the Bolts' recent history. We're talking about an unprecedented move, a signing that's leaving fans and insiders completely shocked. A big name, a major reinforcement, and an impact that could immediately change the team's level. But hold on, because the most impressive part of this story you don't know yet. Before revealing all the hot details that just reached me, leave your like and subscribe to the channel, because if you really love the Bolts, this is the right place to follow every step of this possible bombshell that's about to explode in Los Angeles. I'll be following everything closely, update by update, without missing a single thing. Now, let's get straight to the point. The Los Angeles Chargers are very close to achieving one of their biggest off-field victories in recent years with the imminent hiring of Mike McDaniel as offensive coordinator. And if there's anyone who stands to gain more than anyone else from this potential arrival, it's Justin Herbert. It's true that Herbert will have to learn yet another offensive system and work with yet another different coordinator, something that is never simple and requires time, adaptation, and chemistry. However, there is a crucial detail that completely changes this scenario. Herbert would finally leave behind an outdated offensive system led by Greg Roman to take over a modern, creative offense directly inspired by Kyle Shanahan's offensive tree, one of the most respected and efficient in the NFL. This changes everything. Mike McDaniel is known for offenses full of movement before the snap, intelligent spacing, clearer reads, and above all, for building schemes designed to empower the quarterback, not limit him. In other words, it's not just Herbert who wins in this equation. For McDaniel, the scenario is also extremely favorable. Of course, taking on another head coaching role might be the most desired path, but realistically, the main options available at the moment would be unstable franchises, such as the Cleveland Browns or the Las Vegas Raiders. Instead, McDaniel would have the chance to work with Justin Herbert, one of the most talented and consistent quarterbacks in the league, and lead an offense with enormous potential. In the short term, it's simply a great deal. And this is precisely where we enter a delicate and quite controversial point, the debate that never died between Justin Herbert and Tua Tagovailoa. This comparison didn't start now. It existed before the draft, but in recent years it has become even more intense. While Herbert remained competitive, even surrounded by problems, Tua ended up losing steam in Miami. The situation reached a critical point when Mike McDaniel himself benched Tagovailoa. Shortly after, the Dolphins decided to fire McDaniel, but the impact of that decision had already been made. And the most interesting thing is that Mike McDaniel's arrival doesn't just impact the offense and Justin Herbert's future. It completely changes how the Chargers can think about the rest of their roster building. And that's exactly what leads us to the next point, the draft. Because with a new mastermind leading the offense, the front office can use its picks to strengthen other areas. And at the 22nd position, there's a name that could become a real steal and change the level of the Chargers' defense. With the 22nd overall pick in the draft, the Chargers won't be at the top of the order, but that's far from a problem. This draft class is considered deep, and top-tier players should be available when it's Los Angeles' turn to choose. In Mel Kiper's most recent simulation, one name in particular stands out: Peter Woods, defensive tackle from Clemson. According to Kiper, Woods was considered a top 10 pick at the beginning of the season, but a drop in production throughout the year caused him to plummet in the rankings and appear outside the top 20. And that's precisely where this could turn into excellent news for the Chargers. Peter Woods is a strong, versatile player with a real ability to wreak havoc on opposing offenses. He can ruin offensive plans, collapse the interior of the line, and generate pressure not only on the edges, but also through the middle, something extremely valuable in today's NFL. At his best, Woods is simply dominant. The big question revolves around whether Jim Harbaugh and Jesse Minter can recapture that level of performance. If the answer is yes, Woods could quickly become the ideal replacement for free agent T.R. Tart, immediately assume the starting role and still represent a real bargain in the draft. Even with plenty of salary cap space available, the Chargers are likely to invest in. Developed on the offensive line in free agency, this potential defensive pick becomes even more strategic. Of course, there are areas for improvement in Woods' game. He's not yet a fully refined pass rusher. Sometimes he relies too much on brute force and can struggle against well-organized protections. Still, when scouts talk about him, they all highlight the same qualities: explosiveness, hand technique, and elite-level potential. It's a calculated risk, a smart fit, and another important piece for a Chargers defense that continues to evolve. And now, get ready, because the next topic is even bolder. Losing in the playoffs hurts, and it hurts a lot, especially for a franchise like the Los Angeles Chargers, who entered the season carrying high expectations and the hope of finally taking the next step. However, when we coldly examine everything that happened, it becomes clear that, given the avalanche of injuries throughout the year, the team simply had no real chance of competing for the Super Bowl in 2025. These changes clearly began with the departure of Greg Roman. The decision wasn't just a change of names, but a direct message that the franchise was willing to abandon abandon old ideas and begin a new phase. And everything indicates that this was just the first piece of a domino effect that could completely transform the Chargers' future. Because along with this change, a name emerges that can excite any fan and make them dream big: Tyreek Hill. Shortly after the news of Mike McDaniel's possible arrival, Tyreek Hill posted an enigmatic message on his social media, something that quickly caught the attention of NFL fans and analysts. Hill has always liked to provoke, create mystery, and stir up the internet. That's true, but this time the tone seemed different, almost like a veiled message. Perhaps Hill himself is already feeling that his time in Miami is drawing to a close, that the weight of his contract is starting to bother the franchise, and that a new opportunity may be emerging on the horizon. The connection between Tyreek Hill and Mike McDaniel is more than evident and impossible to ignore. It was under McDaniel's command that Hill experienced one of the best moments of his career, leading the NFL in receiving yards and touchdowns in 2023 within an offensive system designed practically to exploit his speed, explosiveness, and ability to destroy defenses. Of course, at first glance, this possibility may seem strange, mainly because the Chargers have already invested heavily in the wide receiver position in recent years, with names like Ladd McConkey, Quentin Johnston, who has shown significant improvement, Trey Harris, and even the option of having Keenan Allen. Still, it's impossible not to imagine the devastating impact that a combination like Tyreek Hill, Justin Herbert, and Mike McDaniel could have on the NFL. For years, Tyreek Hill terrorized the AFC West wearing other colors, deciding games and single-handedly changing defensive plans. Seeing him now on the other side of the coin would be a stunning turnaround. Is the transfer guaranteed? No. Is it unlikely? Maybe. But is it impossible? Definitely not. And often, it's precisely these bold, almost unthinkable moves that completely change the destiny of a franchise. The Chargers are quietly building something big: a new leadership, a new philosophy, and the real possibility of decisive reinforcements that could elevate the team to another level. Justin Herbert has never been closer to reaching his true potential and finally having an environment entirely conducive to his talent. Now, the question is for you. Would you bring Tyreek Hill to Los Angeles? Is Peter Woods worth the 22nd pick in the draft? Is Mike McDaniel really the right name to finally unlock this offense? Leave your opinion in the comments. Subscribe to the channel because everything indicates that this offseason promises to be historic for the Los Angeles Chargers.